So, peace and blessings once again at the noonday hour. We have the privilege of gathering at the virtual or in the virtual space. And so I bring you greetings on behalf of our national president, that being Mr. Jared Redmond, as well as the president of the university, Dr. Gerald Briggs. And of course, my name is Reverend Anthony J. Brownlow. Well, folks, this week we have as a theme or topic to consider Fix It. And of course, the supporting text for this particular theme is Second Chronicles, the 7th chapter, the 14th through 16 verses. And I think this particular text is very familiar to each of you. And so the text reads as follows. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves, pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Now my eyes will be open and my ears attentive to the prayer that is made in this place. For now I have chosen and consecrated this house so that my name may be there forever, my eyes and my heart for all time. May the Lord add a blessing to the reader, the hearer, and the doer of God's rich and profound word. Folks, once again, fix it. Second Chronicles, the 7th chapter, verses 14 through 16. You know, in wrestling with this particular text, I, immediately thought about how I have gotten into the consistent practice of getting up really early, and I do mean really early, and walking in my neighborhood. And what I will share with each of you is it is life-giving to be in the stillness of the morning and not only be in the midst of it, but to experience the sun hitting my skin and to hear all of the sounds, whether it be birds, whether it be the rabbits moving, just it is a life-giving experience. So much so, I have begun to recognize how I have a different experience throughout the course of my day when I don't walk, right? And so I am almost like in a different space. And so I've actually come up with, these three terms where, I talk about refocus, uh, to refocus, to restore, and to replenish, right? That's what I call my morning walks. So much so now, uh, I see so much of the benefit in the commute in the neighborhood that I have made it a cultural norm for me as an individual, right? And so here, I'd like to kind of think about, of course, our particular theme, of course, as it relates to fixing it, right? Um, what I've come to realize is to fix something, one, you have to acknowledge that something's wrong. Two, you have to assess, what can be the difference, that now that you've recognized that something's off, I'm not having the same experience, and I need to do something a little different, right? And so I think, or I would suggest, that the writer helps us out in this moment uh, because, the writer literally says to turn from your wicked ways, right? Uh, me not walking in the morning is not necessarily wicked ways. However, what it did help me realize is I needed to make some adjustments. And I think that's what the writer is also saying as well. Because when we find ourselves, I guess, away from God, it is time for us to fix that, right? And I would suggest, just like you, and just like I, we recognize when something's off. There's a self awareness that we come to terms with that, hey, I don't know exactly what's happening, uh, but I'm a little bit off. And we begin to assess, what am I doing differently in this season that I don't traditionally do? And when we recognize that, right, we have to fix it so that we can get back in alignment. Because that's what the morning walks do for me. Uh, and I also recognize, as it relates to my relationship with God, as I walk to and fro in the land, I recognize when I feel like I'm in alignment versus when I don't. Uh, there is a disruption, I would suggest, uh, in my spirit. And so I don't feel restored. I don't feel replenished. And I actually feel out of focus. And so, folks, that's my word for you. I think the writer of this text uh, was definitely being almost verbatim in our spirit. I mean, being literally with this message to inform us on how we can get in alignment with God, right? And not only, and the benefits, right? Because I also recognize the benefits of walking early in the morning too, right? I do. It's not only, from a mental space and all of that, but there's benefits as it relates to exercise, right? And so in turn, I wanted to plant that in your hearts and minds, so that uh, what is it that you find yourself, or what is it that uh, you have practiced as a common practice in your walk here in the land, and you stop doing it, and you notice the difference in your experience, and you had to fix it, right? You had to assess where you were, assess what was going on, be self aware, and to revisit what will get you back in alignment with your day to day practice, but not only that, with your spiritual practice to get in alignment with God so that you might fix it. Well, folks, let us prepare our hearts and minds for a brief word of prayer. God, ask that we thank you, excuse me, God, that you have afforded us this time to come before the virtual throne here at the noonday hour. We recognize, God, that uh, the grace, the mercy that has shown up in our individual spaces is not merit based. Lord, you are in the giving business, and we can lift up words of thankfulness and gratefulness that you thought enough to afford us new mercies on this day. And so, God, here in the midst of our commute and during the walking enterprise, there's so much going on in the land. The headlines are inundating our spirits. In fact, they are all clustering in our hearts and minds. And some of us find ourselves worried to death about what's going to happen tomorrow. Just before this particular prayer call, there was a shooting in Minnesota, God. So there are parents, there are spouses, there are, siblings and the like who are concerned about their loved ones, Lord. And so, Lord, here in this moment, God, we ask that you drop your peace, your healing hand, and your love offering in that particular community and usher them through this particular moment. But God, also just to be local in the instance that, we don't have an idea of all the things that are happening on every college campus. We recognize that you possess the ability to visit all the spaces that we've highlighted. And so, God, will you stop by and saturate those environments, Lord? Be with the leadership of those institutions as well as our own individual institution, Lord, in whom we lift up the administration, faculty, and staff, as well as the student body, Lord. God, we thank you for this time that we've been gifted together in this very hour. We look forward to how we're going to see you throughout the course of the rest of this day. And God, we ask that you show up so boldly and so apparently that we have to recognize, oh, God is in the building. And so, God, we lift up these words of praise and petition in your name. Amen. Well, folks, it has been good to be here once again. Thank you all for creating some space and time to convene with us. And so, as always, we ask that you keep asking, you keep seeking, and you keep knocking. The God we serve is not in the business of having a deaf ear to your particular concern. And know always that you or that season in which you find yourself operating in can be fixed. And know that the God that we serve is waiting for you to take that assessment and consider what I'm doing differently in this season so that I might get back in alignment with the God we serve and we love. Therefore, be blessed and go forth.